Hello, and welcome to our presentation of the 125 Cafeteria Plan. This program has been brought to you by your employer and Professional Benefit Services. By now, you should have received a packet of information from your employer, and it would be great to have that on hand, as I'll refer to that often throughout the presentation. Income taxes. Everybody pays them, and most agree they're too high. Most of us pay somewhere between 20 and 30% in income taxes. For a person who's making an annual salary of $20,000, that means you'll pay $4,000 to $6,000 in taxes. This program, the Cafeteria Plan, will allow you to avoid paying tax on a portion of your income. Let's take a look at an example of how this program can save you money. In our example, we're starting with a gross salary of $1,600 a month. That full $1,600 is taxable, and if we pay federal and state income taxes at 17%, that's $277.60 that would go to those taxes. In addition, you pay 7.65% in Social Security tax. That's an additional $122.40 coming out in taxes. Now, let's suppose that you have dollars withheld out of your pay to have yourself, your spouse, or dependents covered under your group employer-sponsored health insurance program. And then in addition to that, you're paying $60 a month towards prescriptions or co-payments, out-of-pocket medical, dental, vision kinds of expenses. That leaves you with spendable income of $1,029.40. Now with the Cafeteria Plan, we start off with the same $1,600 in gross salary, only now we get to subtract out that premium that we're having deducted out of our pay on a before-tax basis. We also withhold that $60 pre-tax through the Cafeteria Plan, which leaves us a taxable income of $1,429.40. Again, we withhold state and federal taxes at 17%, and now we're paying $248 in taxes, and withhold the same Social Security taxes at 7.65%, and now we've paid $109.35 in Social Security tax, which is less than $122.40 we paid previously, for a total spendable income of $1,072.05. The difference is that we've saved $42.65 per month, which is over $500 in a year. So now the tax savings is great, but really your interest in the program will be determined by the kinds of things that you'll be able to be reimbursed for out of the program. And those fall into three basic categories. And the first one is health insurance premiums. If you have any money withheld out of your pay to have yourself, your spouse, or your dependents covered under your employer's group health insurance program, that money can be deducted pre-tax. The second category is dependent care expenses. Now, usually we mean child care, and that would be for the care of any of the children while you and your spouse are gainfully employed. That can also mean for elder care if you have a parent that's dependent upon you. And the third account is what the tax code calls a flexible spending account. In this account, you'll be able to set aside money for a variety of different out-of-pocket, medical, dental, and vision care expenses. In your packet is a list which includes such common items as deductibles, prescription drugs, chiropractic fees, dental and vision needs, as well as certain over-the-counter medications and supplies. Let's suppose that I'm covered under a group insurance program at work, but my spouse is covered separately through her work, and she has the kids covered under her program. If they have any deductibles that they're satisfying under their program or co-pays, those types of things can be included in this pot of money as well. And remember, these are expenses that not only you incur, but your spouse or dependents, even if they're covered under a different insurance program. Now let's talk about the advantages of the Cafeteria Plan. First of all, there's the tax savings. Most of us will save 20 to 30% off the expenses that we run through these plans. Second, you can customize your own plan. You determine your needs, and then you set aside a monthly amount to cover those needs that come up throughout the year. And third, the Cafeteria Plan helps you budget for the year. You set aside a small amount out of your paycheck every month, and you've got this large pot of money to draw from when you have these expenses incurred. Now that we've talked over the great benefits to this plan, let's discuss the possible cautions to participating in the program. First, whatever you say you're going to defer into the plan is the amount that you have to defer each and every month. So once I sign up at the beginning of the year to set aside a certain amount of money, that amount of money has to be withheld each and every month throughout the plan year. The only time you're allowed to change is if you have a significant family event, and that's listed in the packet as a birth, death, divorce, marriage, adoption, spouse either quitting work or getting work. Outside of those options, you're going to be locked into what you said you're going to do for the plan year. Now, you'll have to check with your employer to find out what your plan year is. Typically, it's 12 months. The second caution for you to participate in the program is that if you over-defer, if you put away more money than you can possibly use in a year, you'll lose those funds. This is not something that your employer or professional benefits chose. This is what the IRS says has to happen. So the key to the program is to make sure that you don't over-defer. Make sure that you can use all the money that you set aside in the program. Now that you have a basic understanding of the program and how it works, let's look at the enrollment form and how to sign up for the program. To begin, fill in your employer name and plan year if it's blank. Next, fill in your name, mailing address, the last 4 numbers of your Social Security number, telephone number, and email address. Please make sure that the email address you provide is monitored regularly. Next, check the box yes if you are enrolling in the plan for the year, or no if you are not enrolling for the year. Remember, if you choose not to enroll in the plan, you'll be locked out until the next plan year begins, unless you have a significant family event change as established by the IRS rules. The first section is for any employer-sponsored group health insurance that is coming out of your paycheck. That goes to you, your spouse, or your dependents covered under your employer's group health plan. This will be a monthly amount. For example, my premiums are $500 per month. My employer pays $250 and I pay $250. $250 that I pay goes in the box under employer-sponsored insurance premiums. The next section is for supplemental insurance premiums. This includes accident and cancer plans such as AFLAC. You cannot claim any premiums paid through a spouse's place of work, even if these are paid with after-tax dollars. The third section is for your unreimbursed health flexible spending account election. This is where you list the amount you want to contribute over the plan year for medical expenses. For example, let's say in the next 12 months you will pay $500 towards your deductible, your spouse needs glasses costing $200, and the children have prescription allergy medicine over the summer at a cost of $200. Your total expenses are $900. Please be sure to check with your employer to see what limits may apply to this account. $900 goes in the box for your total annual allocation for unreimbursed health expenses. The fourth section is for your dependent daycare election. Under the IRS tax code, the cap for this account is $5,000 per year. You cannot use the 125 Cafeteria plan and take the dependent care tax credit at year end. Eligible dependents are those under age 13, special needs dependents, and elderly dependents. This is your total annual election. Please note your elections will be deducted from your paycheck each payroll. Please read the remainder of the information on the enrollment form, then sign and date it where indicated at the bottom. Then turn this form in to your employer. Even if you do not wish to participate in this plan, please sign and date the form anyway and turn it into your employer. Your employer is required to have a signed copy from you to show that you've been given the opportunity to participate and chose not to. Claim form. This is the form you will use to get your money back out of the plan. To begin, fill in your employer name. Next, fill in your name, mailing address, the last 4 numbers of your Social Security number, telephone number, and email address. Please make sure that the email address you provide is monitored regularly. Indicate the amount of money you are claiming and out of which account: medical, dependent care, other premium. Sign and date the form. Please remember to attach a copy of the bill or receipt you are using to justify the expense. Remember, you must keep the originals for tax purposes. A receipt must include date of service, your name, your spouse's name, or eligible dependent who received the service, an amount on the bill that justifies the expense, and something that shows that the bill was from a medical, dental, or vision provider. Please remember, services must be incurred within the plan year. The date of service is when the service was incurred, not when the bill was received or paid. Claims without receipts will not be processed. If your employer allows a debit card, you will also be able to access your funds with your card at any medical provider that accepts MasterCard. You may still be required to submit paper claims. If this is the case, you will be sent an email requesting additional information. Be sure to save all your original receipts, as we may ask you to send a copy to us for justification of the expense. Our hope is that this short video presentation has provided you with some valuable information on this new benefit offered through your employer. You know, there's not too many ways to save tax dollars these days. This is the last program of its kind. Please use it to its fullest advantage. If you or your spouse has any questions, please call us toll-free at 1-800-982-2012. Thank you for your time.